Dear students, welcome to the next video on the lesson Every Success Story is also a story of great failures. This is part 3 of this lesson. In the previous two classes, we saw how some great people today have become successful after facing so many adversities, so many failures, so many defeats in their lives. So success is not instant. There may be sometimes a long process to reach the height of success. This is what you have to understand. Now, let us move on to the next part of the lesson. Below are more examples of the failures of successful people. So, how some successful people today had faced failures. In spite of those failures, how they had overcome them and how they became successful in their lives. Let us see. Thomas Edison failed approximately 10,000 times while he was working on the light bulb. We all know that, we all remember today this great man Thomas Edison for his initial invention, that is the light bulb. Today we have a number of electric bulbs, but the basic model, the first light bulb, was invented by Thomas Edison, an American scientist. But his invention was not instant. He had failed how many times? Approximately, roughly 10,000 times. He tried 10,000 times to invent his first light bulb. So that was the hard work behind his success. Henry Ford was broke at the age of 40. So we all know that Henry Ford, he was a famous American entrepreneur, an industrialist, and he designed a car. He was the founder of the Ford Motor Company in America. When he designed his first car, his age was 40. At the age of 40, he made his first car. Lee Iacocca was fired by Henry Ford II at the age of 54. Who is this Henry Ford II? Henry Ford II, he belongs to the family of Henry Ford. So he was the grandson of Henry Ford actually. And Lee Iacocca, he was also a businessman. First, he worked as an employee under Henry Ford II in the Ford Motor Company. But Henry Ford II did not want to promote this man, Lee Iacocca, as the CEO of the Ford Motor Company. That's why he dismissed him at the age of 54. When Lee Iacocca was 54, he was dismissed. Was fired means was dismissed, was expelled from that factory. Of course, this Lee Iacocca, he designed so many models for the Ford Motor Company. But because of some personal clashes, he was removed from the company by Henry Ford II when he was 54. But he was not disgraced. He went on designing new models of cars. That way, he became successful. Next, young Beethoven was told that he had no talent for music, but he gave some of the best music to the world. So Beethoven, actually, he was a famous world-class pianist and a musician of Germany. Today we know him as a famous musician of Germany, as a pianist. But initially, when he was young, people said, "You have no talent for music. Better to give it up." They said like that. But what did he do? He did not give up. He did not try his luck. He did not stop practicing. He gave some of the, in the latter years, he gave some of the best music to the world. That means he became a world-class musician, a pianist, just because of his constant efforts, continuous efforts, despite facing some adversities in the beginning. So what we have to understand here, it is there in the next para. Setbacks are inevitable in life. A setback can act as a driving force and also teach us humility. In grief, you will find courage and faith to overcome the setback. We need to learn to become victors, not victims. Fear and doubt short circuit the mind. So this is an important paragraph. Setbacks are inevitable in life. What is the meaning of setback? Setbacks means failures, adversities, defeats. They are inevitable. That means unavoidable. You cannot escape from them. They are sure to happen. One has to face adversities, defeats, failures in one's life. So that is essential. You cannot escape. Unavoidable failures. A setback can act as a driving force and also teach us humility. But what we have to say, what we have to think, a setback, a defeat can act as a driving force. That means a motivating force. Something that takes you ahead. And also teach us humility. Naturally, when we fail, what we have to think? My defeat, I should take my defeat as a driving force. I should take my failure as a driving force. A force that drives me ahead. You have to think like that. It's a motivating force for me, my defeat. And because you should know how to be humble. It teaches humbleness also. Your failure teaches you humbleness or humility also. It kills your ego and pride. That is what we have to take from the line. In grief, that means when you fail, what happens? You feel very, very sorrowful. You feel very sad. That is grief. In grief, that means when you are sad, you will find courage and faith to overcome the setback. So your grief, your sorrow gives you courage and also faith in the future to overcome the setback. How can I overcome my setback? Who gives you that confidence, or what gives you that confidence? Your failure only, your defeat only. So it is just a driving force. Your failure is a driving force for your success. We need to learn to become victors, not victims. We need to learn to become victors. Victors means winners. How should I be? I should be a winner, not a loser. Victim means loser. I should be a victor. I should be a winner, not a loser. So that kind of attitude you should develop in your mind. And fear and short circuit, fear and doubt short circuit the mind. That means when you fail, you should not develop a fear. You should not develop any hesitation or doubt, because these two are negative qualities, fear and doubt. They short circuit the mind. That means they block your mind. They don't allow you to think in a positive way. That's why you should rid off these two negative qualities. What are they? Fear and doubt. You should keep them away. Ask yourself after every setback, whenever you face a defeat or a failure, you should question yourself. You should go for an introspection. What did I learn from this experience? What did I learn from this experience means from this failure? Why I have failed? How to overcome my failure? So you should go for that kind of introspection. Only then you will be able to turn a stumbling block into a stepping stone. Only then, that means if you learn something from your experience, only then you will be able to turn a stumbling block. A stumbling block means what here? A hurdle or an obstacle, something that prevents your way, that something that stops you. That is called a stumbling block. Okay, into a stepping stone. That means you should take your stumbling block, that means your failure, as a stepping stone to success. So that's why people say failure is a stepping stone to success. Now, let us move on to the next part of the passage. The motivation to succeed comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose. Napoleon Hill wrote, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. The motivation to succeed comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose. What is the meaning of achieving a purpose? Achieving a purpose means attaining a target, reaching a goal. You must fix a goal. There should be a purpose behind your doing everything. And the motivation to succeed, the motivation to succeed comes from where? From the burning desire. Burning desire means your zeal, your strong will, strong wish to achieve a purpose. So you should have a strong desire to achieve a purpose or to reach a goal. Okay, Napoleon Hill wrote, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So Napoleon Hill, he is also a famous industrialist. What did he write actually? He's an author actually, American author, who composed so many books. What did he write in one of his books? He is known for his books on quotations. What did he write? Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So, whatever the mind of man can conceive means think of. So, whatever the human mind imagines, whatever it conceives, whatever it thinks of, and whatever it believes, whatever man conceives, thinks of, or what he believes that he can do, the mind can achieve. So first of all, man should develop the thought of doing something, and he should have trust in that thought, and then his mind can achieve that goal. Next, a young man asked Socrates to seek the secret to success. Socrates told the young man to meet him near the river the next morning. They met. Socrates asked the young man to walk with him toward the river. When the water got up to their neck, Socrates took the young man by surprise and ducked him into the water. The boy struggled to get out, but Socrates was strong and kept him there until the boy started turning blue. Now let us discuss this one. A young man asked Socrates the secret to success, or you can also say the secret of success. See, you know, Socrates is a world famous philosopher of Greece. He had so many disciples and followers, students actually. One day, a young man came to him. He came to Socrates and asked him, "Sir, what is the secret to success? How can you define success?" That young man asked Socrates. Socrates told the young man to meet him near the river the next morning. "I don't tell you anything, young man, now. You just come to the river. You meet me at the river tomorrow morning," he said to the young man. He told the young man. They met. The young man came and he met Socrates. And what did Socrates do? Socrates asked the young man to walk with him toward the river. "Now, young man, let us go towards the river," he told the young man. And they started going near the river. When the water got up to their neck, that means they walked into the river, Socrates and the young man. When they were neck deep, that means they went into the middle of the river. What happened actually into the water? When the water level was up to their neck, what happened? Socrates took the young man by surprise and ducked him into the water. So Socrates suddenly caught hold of the man's head and pushed him into the water. Ducked him. That means pushed. He pushed that young man's head into the water. The boy struggled to get out, but Socrates was strong and kept him there until the boy started turning blue. So naturally, when somebody pushes your head into the water, you feel the need for the air. You cannot dip your head into the water for a long time, not even for a few seconds. Naturally, that boy also struggled. He tried his best to keep his head out of the water. But what did Socrates do? He was strong and kept that boy, young man, there. That means in the water. Socrates did not let the boy raise his head, raise his head above the water level until the boy started turning blue. See, turning blue means what here? Feeling, being unable to breathe. Being unable to breathe. That means feeling the difficulty of breathing. So Socrates did not let the boy come out of the water until the boy started feeling the difficulty of breathing. Because he was ducked, he was pushed into the water. He was unable to breathe. He was struggling. But Socrates was holding his head very tightly. Socrates pulled his head out of the water, and the first thing the young man did was to gasp and take a deep breath of air. Naturally, when Socrates let the boy come out of the water and the boy raised his head, what happened? What was the first reaction? What did he do? What did the first thing he did? The young man did was to gasp. Gasp means, breathing with the mouth, breathing with a sound, feeling the difficulty of breathing. That is what's called gasping. So he was the young man was gasping and to take a deep breath of air. So he took a deep breath of air because he was kept his head was kept by Socrates under the water for a few seconds. That's why he was feeling the need for the air. So he took a deep breath of air and he was gasping actually. So that means he was feeling the need for breathing. Socrates asked, what did you want the most when you were there? When you were there. There means where? Where was the young man? In the river water. What did you want the most? How did you feel when I ducked your head into the water? When I pushed you into the water, how did you feel? What did you want most? When you were in the water, river water? Socrates asked the man. The boy replied, air. I wanted nothing else, sir. I just wanted air, the man said. Socrates said, that is the secret to success. Yesterday you asked me that question, no? What is the question? What is the secret to success? Now you know the answer very well. Air is the answer. That is the secret to success. When you want success as badly as you wanted the air, then you will get it. This is very, very important. When you want success as badly as you wanted the air, that means when I pushed your head into the water, you wanted to have the air and you got it later. Just like that, if you want success, you must wish it, you must aspire for it as badly as you wanted the air. That means when you were under the water, just like you felt the need for the air, when you are in difficulty, you should aspire for success. Only then you will get success. You will succeed in your life. So this is the way Socrates told the young man the secret to success. What should we understand now? So one should want to have success when one is in difficulty. Just like the young man whose head was pushed into the water. Just like he wanted the air when he was pushed into the water, when we are in difficulty, we should try to achieve success. There is no other way to success. There is no other secret to success. So this way, Socrates told the young man. A burning desire is the starting point of all accomplishment. This is important. The burning desire. What is the burning desire? A strong will, a strong wish to do something. That is what is called a burning desire. A strong desire is the starting point, that is the initial point of all achievement. That means achievement means what? Accomplishment means what here? Success. So, if you want to achieve success or accomplishment, what should be the starting point? A burning desire, a great zeal to do something, to achieve something. That should be behind every success. Just like a small fire cannot give much heat, a weak desire cannot produce great results. This is also important. A small fire cannot give much heat. Can you boil 5 liters of water by just keeping a pot on the flame of a candle? Can the flame of a candle give much heat? Can it heat a certain amount of water? Not at all. It just gives, it produces small heat, little heat, not much heat. Just like that, a weak desire cannot produce great result. That means if you want to achieve great results, if you want to accomplish something, your desire should also be a burning one. It should be a burning one, not a weak desire. That means, what is the meaning here? Only a great desire, a strong desire can produce great results, not a weak desire. This is what is called, what you have to understand. Now here are some lines by Shiv Khera. So that is the name of the author here. Now he writes some inspirational lines also. If you think, so these lines actually, they enlighten you on the importance of being positive, developing positive attitude. If a person develops a positive attitude, he can achieve great heights in his life or her life. So this is what we have to understand. Let us quickly go through these things. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you are beaten, you are means your success, actually attitude decides everything. If you think you are beaten, if you think I am beaten, I am unsuccessful, I am defeated, I have failed, you are a failure. If you think you dare not, you don't. Suppose you have to do something. Oh, I don't have that dareness to achieve something, to achieve that thing. If you think like that, half of your failure lies there only. You can't do anything. So you should give up your negative attitude. You should have positive attitude. That is what these lines mean. If you like to win, but think you cannot, you have the desire to win, but in your heart, you feel like this. Oh, I cannot win. You have that negative attitude. Naturally, you cannot win. It's almost a cinch you won't. It's almost a cinch. What is a cinch? An extremely easy task. It's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you lose, you are lost. So don't think that you will lose. If you think like that, I will lose, I will be defeated, I will fail, you naturally will lose. For out in the world, we find success begins with a fellow's will. Fellow's will, that means a man's will. So everything depends on our will, on our strong desire. So if a person has a strong desire to achieve something, he can achieve it. If he gets discouraged or disheartened before taking up any job, or when he fails in his attempts, he cannot expect success in his life. It's all in the state of mind. So our mind decides, our way of thinking, our attitude decides whether we are going to achieve success or we are going to face failure. So our state of mind decides our success. If you think you are outclassed, you are. So if you think you are outclassed, if you are outclassed means here you are excelled, you are defeated, you are defeated. If you think like that, oh, I am defeated, I am defeated, I am excelled, like this, if you think like that, naturally you will be defeated. You have got to think high to rise. You should have that high aspiration to rise from your failure. How can I rise? How can I achieve success in spite of my failure? You should have that positive attitude. You have got to be sure of yourself before. That means you should have that self-confidence. Sure of yourself means you should be sure of yourself means you should have that self-confidence. You can ever win a prize. So you can ever win a prize. So if one has that self-confidence to achieve something, one can win a prize, one can win a target, no problem. Life's battles don't always go. That means don't always go to the stronger and faster man. See, we think that so and so person is lucky, so and so person is stronger than me, he is faster than me, that's why he became successful. We think like that, but that's not correct. Life's battles, that means the fruits of our industry, don't always go only to the stronger and the faster man. They go to those, life's battles always, sometimes are always, they go to those persons who has a positive attitude and who go on doing something. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. So that is the thing. Initial failures in the beginning, they don't decide a man's success. Then what decides a man's success? A person's positive attitude, a person who thinks he can in spite of his failures. So this is the way we have to understand this passage actually. Now let us discuss some questions based on these things. Okay. Question number 26. What do the world think about the success of great people? When a person becomes successful, what do the people in the world think about that success? That they became successful only because of luck. But that's not correct. What does failing forward mean? What is the meaning of failing forward? Bouncing back from failure. Next. What was the disaster that happened to Thomas Edison at 67? His $1 million worth factory was burnt up in a fire accident. What did Edison say when his factory was burnt up? What did he say? Oh, that all his mistakes are burnt up. What did he invent after the great loss? When his factory was burnt up, what was his next invention? The phonograph. Okay. How many attempts had Edison made to invent the light bulb? Around 1,000 or 10,000 attempts. What was Beethoven? A world famous German music composer and pianist. How do setbacks help us? How do failures help us? They act as a driving force for our success. Okay. What short circuit the mind? What block our mind? Fear and doubt. So this is the way we can discuss these things. Next, some more are there. Where does the motivation for success come from? The motivation for success comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose or success. What did Napoleon Hill write about success? That whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. What did a young man ask Socrates? The secret to success. What did Socrates do when the young man was neck deep in the water, when his head was pushed into the water? He ducked the young man into the water. After pulling the young man's head out of the water, what did Socrates ask the young man? What the young man wanted most when he was in the water. What did Socrates tell the young man about the secret of success? That the boy must want success as badly as he wanted the air when he was in the water. What is required most for any success? A burning desire. What can give great results? A strong desire, not a weak desire. Students, you just watch the video and try to understand the concept and share the video to your friends also. If you like the video, do subscribe to my channel so that you will get instant alerts whenever I make next videos. Thank you all for watching this video. Stay at home and stay safe.